Good day and welcome to the special edition of Focus On. I'm Moik Peterson. Gauteng MEC of Finance, Nomantu Nkomo-Ralehoko, delivered the Gauteng Provincial Budget Address, where she highlighted on the financial performance of the province. Joining me now to discuss some of these highlights is Gauteng MEC of Finance, Nomantu Nkomo-Ralehoko. MEC, good day and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. All right. MEC, you spoke about remaining focused on creating a people-centered society in which millions of South Africans could celebrate the gains of freedom every day. Can you just expand a little bit on what did this mean?
Everyone has a right as a citizen to free healthcare services, to education, to have a home, a safe home, free home. Because I'm sure you have seen that. Why I'm saying free home, so that you are able to do anything. We have seen that. I was speaking about the community safety, that we are going to have more patrollers in the province that we are going to do as a government. But again, we want to educate our young people. Hence, you see that we have an additional amount of money that we are putting on education. Then we want to have that environment that we are free in terms, it's good in terms of our health. Hence, you have seen me allocating a lot of money to health, whilst you know that we've been battling with COVID-19.
What are the anticipated project growth rates for 2022-2023?
We are definitely going to have big projects that we are going to focus on in the province, especially under roads and transport, under health, under human settlement, and even in schools. We will have those big projects and economic development. We will have the SEZs that we are building. Remember, last we talked about Tshwane SEZ, Val SEZ. Now I've allocated some funds just specifically to focus in those SEZs. So that's part of the things that we want to do as a province, which are more critical, by the way, to the citizens.
476 million has been allocated to the Gauteng City region adult homelessness strategy. Why was this implemented and the importance of implementing this in the province?
It's very critical for us to implement that strategy because it's a way of rebuilding our economy and ensuring that we have bigger projects that are assisting us to create more opportunities, especially jobs, because you've seen a number of young people that are unemployed. And the second issue is the one that we have seen recently, that we want to recover our economy. So hence we need those plans on economic recovery that the department has given us to be funded, because we don't want any department to say that they don't have anything because you didn't organize some funds for me. So we're allocating enough budget for every area that we believe that is critical for us to address as the provincial government.
What would you say is the readiness of your department to implement your strategy?
My department is ever ready because recently we've just had a dashboard that is going to implement in some of the issues that we need to monitor and evaluate these projects that were funded from the various departments. I always say that we allocate money, but we follow the money. And we have even a team of officials that is led, our DDG Vilakazi, that is responsible for allocation of funds to various departments, that he will be going to every department to ensure that funds that we've allocated, they're being utilized properly by the various departments. And I think that's why I believe that we will be successful this time around, because previously we did have monitoring and evaluation tools, but we never had a dashboard that you click the dashboard, it's able to show you the Department of Finance, if it's finance, the bigger projects that they are having, the allocation of small businesses in those projects that are assigned there, like the 30% that we'll expect, the expenditure of the departments. It will show me that dashboard, including the under expenditure, which I'm sure you have seen that I've raised a concern on the area of under expenditure. Finally, the dashboard is here now. I will not have an excuse that I was not aware that this department didn't spend or have underspent. I will know that this is what they're doing and immediately meet with the relevant MEC, have one-on-ones with my team in Treasury and the team of that relevant department to ensure that we iron out the problems before they can create a problem.
I am now joined by Gauteng MEC of Transport, Jacob Mamabolo, to discuss some highlights from the Gauteng Provincial Budget Address. Can we also just then speak and highlight on some of the projects to be funded under your department, MEC?
The most critical part for us as a department of roads and transport is that in addition to the money that has been allocated, we are working in partnership with the private sector, particularly property developers. And to that extent, just last week, we were in one of the fastest growing area in the province, and that is in Midrand, in the area of Waterfall. And we were unveiling a project that is starting, it has almost started. And this project is worth about 300 million rands. And it is going to attract investments from the private sector worth 4 billion rands. And you can clearly see that this is a very critical project. Just today, myself and the Premier of the province, we are visiting the automotive sector, which is one of the most powerful area of automotive industry in the province, called Roslyn, in the city of Tshwane. And we will be discussing with them one of the critical roads in that area, which is going to be the backbone of further investments in the automotive sector. When we finished with that, we go to another project that is called, we are building a road to support a private sector development called Rainbow Junction, which is along in the city of Tshwane, next to the Wonderboom Airport. And the road there will be supporting a private developer project worth, when it's completed, about 15 billion rands. And that's one of the initiatives we'll be looking at. Next week, we are visiting a road which we call the Val Interchange in the southern part of our province. And that road is going to support a special economic zone, plus a multi-billion private property development. And we also have a road that's called K46, or William Nicol as it is called, in the city of Johannesburg. And that is in a very critical area to support a private property development called Stein City, which is also going to create massive employment opportunities. So this private public sector partnerships that we are creating also augment and add to the little resources that we have. So in that context, the budget that has been supported is definitely going to finance and support programs and initiatives, not just road, that are going to unlock a massive potential of the economy of the province.
You have such a great portfolio, and I'm sure there's many challenges. You've mentioned quite a few big projects that is underway and that you are busy with, your department. But what would you say are the greatest challenges ahead for developing Gauteng's transport system?
Globally, the world is worried about time, cost, and quality of infrastructure. That is the same for us. But as I said, we have done a comparison between how infrastructure is delivered in the private sector and how it is delivered in the public sector. And we realize that in the private sector, they are very strict. And even the service providers, the construction companies that deliver infrastructure there, they meet the requirements of time, cost, and quality, because they don't shift the timelines. For example, if you're building a mall. In the public sector, timelines, costs, and quality issues are not adhered to. So one of the things we are doing, and we announced this last week, is we have created what we call the Transport Infrastructure Compliance Office. This compliance office seeks to make sure that, in line with our country's constitution that talks about the principle of the rule of law, the contracts that are signed between ourselves as a department and the service providers, those contracts must be worth the paper they are written on. And we have appointed this law firm to run the compliance office and to crack the whip on private sector companies that fail to honor contractual obligations in the contracts that we sign with them, to make sure that infrastructure is delivered in time, quality, and cost. Because any delay, like I've given an example in Midrand, in Allandale Road, if that project is delayed and there are issues of poor performance, it's holding back an investment of 4 billion rands and many others. So what we are doing here is we want to make sure that in this country, in this province, in transport sector, when you have signed a contract, even with us as a department, you know that your contract will be respected. We must pay the service providers in 30 days so that they can have enough cash and liquidity to refinance the project. So the issue of a compliance office in the transport infrastructure delivery space is really to make sure that we address these challenges, but also exciting. We have introduced 3 digital platforms to support the compliance office, and we know the built and engineering construction environment is less digitized. So we have introduced platforms where contractors must report to us daily. We have a digital platform for that. We have a digital platform we call the Project Readiness Matrix. And then we have the last one, which we call it's a business intelligence system in which we have dashboards that indicate the status. We have a partnership with the University of Pretoria, one of the best universities in the country. They are going to be supporting us with the drones and artificial intelligence to monitor site construction so that we can have a single view of the truth, transparency, openness on construction sites. And in that way, we believe we can set even a national or global benchmark that technology can work in the built and construction environment so that we can be efficient and effective in the delivery of infrastructure and create jobs and grow our economy.
Thank you to my guest, Gauteng MEC of Finance, Nomantu Nkomo-Ralehoko, and MEC of Transport, Jacob Mamabolo. And to all our viewers, it's goodbye from me.